This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
Well, he did it again, folks. Yes, Donald Trump edged out Kamala Harris yet again. He was named Time Magazine Person of the Year. Kamala was one of the runner-ups. Yes, Trump somehow pulled this out, beating Kate Middleton and Claudia Sheinbaum and Joe Rogan and Elon Musk and Benjamin Netanyahu and Kamala Harris to win Trump Man of the Year for the second time. Everything is turning up Trump. The man is on a roll. He went from, 91 indictments, 4 criminal cases, 34 convictions, 2 assassination attempts, 2 impeachments, a $450 million fine, lawsuits, lawfare, attempts to take him off the ballot. And here we are on December 12th, and Donald Trump becomes the first president since Ronald Reagan to ring the bell at the New York Stock Exchange. If you didn't see it, they broke into a chant of USA, USA, as Trump rang the bell, made a little speech, talked about what he plans to do. He is just kicking ass and taking names. Yesterday was a great day for Trump and for America. I am disappointed in one thing. I thought day one, the first thing he was going to do, I was hoping he would do, was fire Christopher Wray. That's not going to happen. Christopher Wray resigned yesterday. He obviously was going to be fired. Obviously, he's a disgrace. He's a swamp rat, the worst deep state snake of them all. There was no way Christopher Wray was ever going to serve under Donald Trump. I mean, it was hilarious listening and watching some in the media say that Wray should stay on. Stay on. The guy did his best to put Trump in prison. First of all, he did his best to defeat Trump, and he was successful in that effort in 2020. Just a quick rundown of things Christopher Wray did over the last 5 years while serving as director of the FBI. He was promoted to the position by Trump. Again, a mistake. Trump made some mistakes, particularly in personnel in his first term. We're hoping that doesn't happen again. So far, so good. He said it this morning at the New York Stock Exchange. It's going to be different this time. His eyes are wide open. He knows what he's doing. He knows where the bodies are buried, and he knows people like Christopher Wray do not have the best intentions. It was clearly a mistake to keep him on, but just quick rundown. I ran out of space to make a list of things this corrupt little deep state rat did in his term over the last few years. The Steele dossier, we'll start with the Steele dossier, made up by the Clinton campaign and the DNC, advanced by the FBI and Christopher Wray. The laptop, yes, they had the laptop a year before the New York Post and Rudy Giuliani had the laptop from hell. The FBI went to big tech, went to Twitter and Facebook and told them it was Russian disinformation. They knew it wasn't. They've already authenticated it. He led the raid on Mar-a-Lago. As Trump said, he invaded my home. He went through Melania's underwear drawer. You think he's going to keep a guy like that on in his next term? He okayed the infiltration of Catholic churches, of extremists in Catholic churches. He called them extremists. He ignored subpoenas in the Congress. He had informants in the crowd on January 6th. We still don't know how many. Did nothing about cocaine in the White House. He oversaw the. He was in office during the George Floyd riots and did nothing. He said white supremacists were the biggest threat in the homeland. Just an absolute, just a bad guy, a devoted Democrat. I love when the media calls him a Republican. Sure. Yeah, he's a Republican who infiltrated Catholic churches and school board meetings. Just the worst of the worst. I was hoping to see Trump fire him, but he didn't get the chance because Christopher Wray, in an emotional goodbye, said he was stepping down, and he said it was the best thing for the FBI, not for the country, not for America, for the FBI, that he stepped down, hopefully to be replaced by Kash Patel, who has just the best intentions to root out the rot and the corruption. I mean, think of the FBI, Andrew McCabe, Peter Strzok, just Jim Comey, just terrible deep state actors who hate Trump, who wanted to defeat Trump, who did their best. They were working for Trump when they conspired with big tech to defeat Trump, to protect Joe Biden. By the way, no investigations of the Biden crime family at all. He shouldn't even be allowed to stay on till January 20th. You know why he's staying on? He wants to use the private jet and all the perks. He wants all the perks through the holidays, through Christmas and New Year's. He wants to be able to use the FBI jet. If you recall, he cut short one hearing in the Senate. He said he had to go. He had business. And then we found out later he was going on vacation and he wanted to take the FBI jet to the Adirondacks with his family. Just an absolute disgrace to the FBI, to the country. And hopefully he is investigated. Here is Donald Trump on the cover of Time magazine. He has won the award twice. Yes, the award is for the person who has the greatest impact in the news for the year. As we told you, they named Adolf Hitler Man of the Year, Person of the Year, once upon a time. And here he is again, Hitler, on the cover of Time magazine for the second time. It's a good picture, but it's an incredible comeback when you think about it. The greatest comeback we've ever seen. It was less than 6 months ago. He was laying on the ground in Butler, Pennsylvania, covered in Secret Service agents, bleeding from the ear. By the way, Christopher Wray, under oath, said he wasn't sure if he was actually hit by a bullet. Do you have that clip for me, Ironhead? He said it, and then another FBI agent testified that they always knew it wasn't shrapnel. They always knew he got hit by a bullet. And Wray wanted to cast some doubts over whether Trump got hit by a bullet. He's not only a liar and a weasel, but he's a lie. I mean, he's attempting under oath before the Senate, I believe, to cast doubt on whether Trump got hit by a bullet. That's petty. And that's what that is. Trying to change the narrative that maybe he wasn't actually hit. Maybe it was just shrapnel. He scraped himself on the podium or something. Listen to that. Why even do this? We know he got hit by a bullet. Everyone knows he got hit by a bullet except Christopher Wray, director of the FBI. Watch this.
There's some question about whether or not it's a bullet or shrapnel that hit his ear.
Senator, there is absolutely no doubt in the FBI's mind whether former President Trump was hit with a bullet and wounded in the ear. No doubt, there never has been.
There never has been. So the director of the FBI lied under oath and speculated that maybe he wasn't actually hit. He never failed to advance the Democrat narrative, the stop Trump narrative. That guy was director of the FBI under Trump. And while he was director of the FBI under Trump, he made every effort to undermine the president while he was in office. And Trump was first a candidate, tried to stop him, succeeded in 2020, and then tried to stop him for the next 4 years. And never even thought about investigating the myriad crimes from Joe Biden. Was asked under oath why he didn't investigate Joe Biden by Matt Gaetz, and just said, wouldn't answer, and was asked, how many informants did you have in the crowd on January 6th? Wouldn't answer. And his last act, this was only a couple months ago, wouldn't show up when subpoenaed to appear before Congress, just wouldn't show up. That's the kind of guy who was running our premier law enforcement agency. Well, that's not all that's turning up Trump, that's going well for Donald Trump here as we sit here 39 days before he takes office yet again. His nominations are looking good. Pete Hegseth, here it is, the odds for Pete Hegseth's success confirmation are up to 67%. What was it? 2 weeks ago, he was at like 12%. He's at 67%. Tulsi Gabbard, 67%.
I would say just a few days ago, he was under 20.
Yeah. And now there's a really good chance he will be confirmed. Same with Tulsi Gabbard. Kash Patel's at 82%. God, that's going to be glorious. And RFK Jr., 74%. He hasn't even made the rounds yet. He certainly hasn't gone before the Senate. It's going to be wild to watch these candidates go before the Senate. John Fetterman looks like he may vote with the Republicans, which means they'll be able to lose 4 Republicans and not just 3. We don't know about Mitch McConnell. He fell down yesterday and was taken in a wheelchair. This feeble old man who's barely hanging on to life just won't give up his Senate seat. These people are pathetic. They're such narcissists. Now we have, after 4 years of watching the decline of Joe Biden, now we get to watch Mitch McConnell just deteriorate, decompose while sitting in the U.S. Senate. Well, why can't you just go home, Mitch McConnell? Why can't you just go home and enjoy your final weeks of life on Earth? They're just pathetic. We got to get to the drone and this Liz Warren story. Liz Warren, she is just the worst of the worst. You know, every time I see like Adam Schiff or one of these crazy Democrats say, how do people vote for that? Then I look and I say, people here in my neighborhood, in my family, vote for Liz Warren. Just the worst. But I want to do the Pete Hegseth story quick because we just told you his odds are getting better, and the attempt to defeat Hegseth is becoming more exposed. We're getting a look at what the media will do to stop Pete Hegseth. So a left-wing outfit called ProPublica, they thought they had him. They thought they had him nailed to the wall. They were ready to run a story about Pete Hegseth lying that he was accepted to West Point. They talked to people at West Point, yes, in the public affairs department, and they said, we have no record of Pete Hegseth ever applying to West Point. So they thought they were going to run a big story. It was going to be splashed everywhere. All the rest of the media would run with it. Pete Hegseth lied. He never got accepted to West Point. Well, thank God Pete Hegseth, kind of like Brett Kavanaugh, keeps good records. Thank God he saves his stuff. Here it is, right here. Pete Hegseth's acceptance letter to West Point, class of 2003. So 21 years ago, he was, 25 years ago, he was accepted to West Point proudly. He didn't choose to attend, but he said it. By the way, these are the same people, the same, quote, reporters who didn't give a damn that Tim Walz lied about his military record, his rank, his service, his time in combat. Nah, that wasn't, you don't question a veteran, a decorated veteran, and they were ready to pounce on Pete Hegseth. But thankfully, Hegseth had the receipts. And then the guy from ProPublica says, people questioned them. Obviously, they were wrong. And they said, hey, we did this. We did our research. We made a phone call. West Point told us he never applied. and we were going to do the story. He showed us the letter, and the guy says, the ProPublica guy says, that's called journalism. Really? They didn't write the story. That's not journalism. You know what journalism is? When West Point lies to you in an attempt to hurt Pete Hegseth, you write the story and you point out that somebody at West Point is trying to undermine Trump's nominee for Secretary of Defense. That's the story. And Tom Cotton and others are calling for an investigation, firings. There should be. There are people at West Point right now trying to stop Pete Hegseth. We know why. He's a threat to them. And they wanted to paint him as a liar. They were probably hoping he didn't keep the letter. Well, he did. So hopefully we're going to find out who lied to ProPublica to undermine Pete Hegseth. And hopefully they will be fired, because they should be. This is a serious offense, a serious attempt on their part to stop him. And they have failed. And his odds, now he has a 67% chance to, I think Pete Hegseth has weathered the storm. I hopefully there won't be any more scandals. They're looking, they're trying. But man, I can't wait till he gets confirmed, because he is ready to disrupt, ready to shake the whole Pentagon up. And that's what we need. All right, I got to get to this drone story and to Liz Warren. She is just despicable. She said she's excusing the Luigi Mangione, the assassin of the CEO, because, you know, sometimes people get pushed too far. Funny, she never said that about the January 6th people or about the people who protested abortion clinics. They never get pushed too far, but damn little rich punk Luigi Mangione was pushed too far. We'll get to that. And Bill Belichick is returning to college. And as the Babylon Bee said, under one condition, he gets to live in his girlfriend's dorm. I will give Belichick credit, but I have my doubts. We'll get to that story too. But first.
Excuse me. Do
you want a better way to simplify finance operations for your business across expenses, vendor payments, and accounting? If so, Ramp could be a complete game changer for you. Ramp is the corporate card and spend management software designed to help you save time and put money in your pocket. Ramp gives finance teams unprecedented control and insight into company spend. With Ramp, you're able to issue cards to every employee with limits and restrictions and automate expense reporting so you can stop wasting time at the end of every month. Ramp saves you money. Businesses that use Ramp save an average of 5% on the first year. Ramp is easy to use. Get started, issue virtual and physical cards, and start making payments in less than 15 minutes. Whether you have 5 employees or 5,000, doesn't matter. And now you get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/Gerry. That's ramp.com/Gerry, ramp.com/GERRY. Cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. Do you wake up in the morning with a sore jaw, headaches, or ringing in your ears from grinding and clenching your teeth at night? I've been through this. It's fairly common, and dentists charge $600 for a bruxism night guard. Many people are now discovering the Brux Night Guard. Unlike regular night guards that go all the way to the back of the teeth, Brux Night Guard only covers the front teeth. This unique design is what sets Brux Night Guard apart from all other guards. It only covers the front teeth, so the bite force is directed away from the back, where many people grind and clench, to help reduce jaw pain and still protect the teeth. You mold it at home to the top and bottom teeth. And unlike other guards, it is made in America and uses 2 materials for added durability. Order a Brux Night Guard today and use the code MAX22 to get 10% off plus free shipping. Go to bruxnightguard.com and enter the code word MAX22. All right, a couple more things that are turning up Trump. Mark Zuckerberg is donating $1 million to the inauguration campaign to make it a great big party on January 20th. Mark Zuckerberg, the guy who spent $450 million to defeat Trump in 2020. Things have changed. And Trump is inviting Xi Jinping to the inauguration. We don't know yet if he'll attend, but man, that is just going to be a wild day in D.C. And a couple more things before we move on from deep state snake Christopher Wray. He also, just consider the things he's concealed. He's covered up. The Diddy list, the Epstein list, the Nashville shooter manifesto. These are things that we weren't allowed to see that maybe, hopefully, we're going to see in 39 days. Jeez, is that what it is? 39 days. 20 and 9. Yep, 39 days. I can't wait. All right, let's get to the Liz Warren. Liz Warren is a despicable, horrible human being, just the worst. Even if she weren't such a radical, I don't think I could stand her voice or face. I mean, we know she's built her entire career on a lie. We know she wouldn't have got the job at Harvard if she didn't lie and say she was an Indian, a Native American. She stole the job from an actual minority. I mean, just look at her. Does she look like a person of color? Well, they celebrated when she became the first law professor of color at Harvard. That woman right there. So everything she's done since has been built on a lie. And she is just, honest to God, just a reprehensible human being. She goes on with Joy Reid, these two nuts, talking about the assassination of Brian Thompson, the 50-year-old CEO of UnitedHealth, who leaves behind 2 teenage sons, lots of friends, lots of family. Just a great American success story. A working class guy who went to the University of Iowa, started as an accountant, and worked his way up to CEO of the biggest health insurance company in America. I mean, a guy who apparently just worked hard and earned everything he got, everything he had. He's dead now because a little rich punk, a little child of privilege, a white Ivy League grad who's had everything handed to him his whole life.
You forgot to mention how hot he was, though.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, with great abs, who's got lots of people in the media swooning over his abs. Just a hunk. Liz Warren doesn't go there, but she does say, those health insurance execs, they have it coming because, they just push people too far. Watch this. And what kind of person, after seeing a man murdered in cold blood, has this kind of twisted take on it that, Luigi Mangione, a 26-year-old who's had he didn't even have to pay his own bills, was just pushed too far by the insurance industry. Watch her.
Talking a lot about this Luigi Mangione, the case about the United Healthcare CEO. People are very angry at United Healthcare. I think for good reason, denying care and the whole system. And we were just talking in the previous block. Killing a CEO is not the way you change. You have to regulate that, right? And so we've got attempts to try to rein in some of these big businesses. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which was your creation. The Trump administration wants to get rid of it. That is like protecting people from like credit card fraud. Yeah. What happens if that goes away?
So look. Terrible for individuals, but stop and think overall about the social contract. Part of the deal in how we've kept this democracy, this economy, this country on a fairly steady path for more than 200 years has been that those at the top pay a little more in taxes, are a little less rich than they otherwise might be. And everybody else at least gets a chance. Yeah. And what happens when you turn this into the billionaires run it all is they get the opportunity to squeeze every last penny. Yeah. And look, we'll say it over and over. Violence is never the answer. This guy gets a trial who's allegedly killed the CEO of UnitedHealth. But you can only push people so far. And then they start to take matters into their own hands. Yeah.
You can only push people so far, she says, about the scion of a wealthy family who decided to assassinate a man because he hated capitalism or the insurance industry. As far as we know, Brian Thompson followed the laws that were written and voted on by this woman who passed Obamacare, and Obamacare is an abomination, as we know. One of the reasons your premiums are so high is because Obamacare forces insurance companies to pay for all kinds of crazy procedures like sex change surgeries and other insanity. But you can only push people so far. Is that now the take? So if they start rioting, January 6th, is that people who just, I'm sorry, you can only push people so far. Old ladies who pray in abortion clinics and get arrested by Christopher Wray and sent away. Hey, you can only push people so far. How about Daniel Penny? Was he just pushed too far? Is it okay that Daniel Penny now that he choked Jordan Neely? Because that, to me, would be a classic case of pushing people too far. And it's only been a few days. The body's not warm. I mean, cold. And this woman's saying, yeah, the insurance company just pushes people too far. Yeah, here are wanted posters put up by Liz Warren supporters of other insurance company executives. They want them dead. So what happens now if another insurance company exec gets shot, killed? How about an oil company executive? How about some Wall Street guy? Was she going to say that too if they get shot dead? If the CEO of ExxonMobil gets shot dead tomorrow? Is Liz Warren going to say, well, they just pushed people too far, climate change and all? What if one of those climate crazies who blocks traffic decides to pick up a gun? Is Liz Warren, my senior senator, going to say, well, that guy had it coming. He pushed people too far. And she says violence is never the answer. Really? What happened? What did your people do on after George Floyd? Weren't they just pushed too far? So they set fires, looted, caused billions in damages? What about, that punk that wanted to kill Brett Kavanaugh? Was he just pushed too far? Is that what happened, Liz? People just get pushed too far? Does she even hear herself to once again quote J.D. Vance? A guy, two teenage kids in Iowa or in Minnesota are burying their father. And a prominent U.S. senator says, well, those insurance companies, they're no good. They're no good. Yeah, I can understand why someone would pick up a ghost gun and a silencer and assassinate the guy. By the way, we're finding out today that his back injury wasn't that bad, that he posted that he was in no pain. So this guy wasn't pushed too far. You know what he was? He was indoctrinated. He was brainwashed at the University of Pennsylvania to think capitalism bad, insurance companies bad. And he just snapped, went to the next level and took up a gun. And now he's looking at the rest of his life in prison, even though his lawyer, we got to get to this, his lawyer is just hysterical. What's the guy's name? Let me get the lawyer for Mangione, who says there's no evidence against his client. I understand this guy's going to get his 15 minutes. He's probably going to put this on his website. Yeah, I defended Luigi Mangione, and he has no case. He has no chance. But I understand that's a lawyer's job to lie on behalf of their client. But do you really want to claim there's no evidence against the guy who literally said he did it, who literally confessed to the crime already? Listen to this clown.
Listen, I haven't seen any evidence that says that he's the shooter. So that's, like I said earlier, and I wasn't kidding around. A couple of things. If you're going to report something, report accurately. And remember, and this is not just a small thing, the fundamental concept of American justice is a presumption of innocence, and until you're proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And I've seen zero evidence at this point, and so I'm not even aware of what any charges.
Zero evidence. Well, I would agree.
Thomas Dickey is his name. Thomas Dickey.
Thomas Dickey. Yeah, good try, counselor. Thomas Dickey's his name, and I would agree. There's zero evidence unless you count the gun, the fake ID, the clothes, the photos, the video, the bullets.
Note. I think he had a note as well.
Oh, that's right. Note, the confession essentially that he posted. Other than that, I think they got nothing. They got nothing on him. I guess you have to do that, but really, that's your take on this. It is just comical. I don't think Luigi Mangioni's ever going to be able to accept any of those offers that he's getting on TikTok, from women and men, because they think he's just so hunky. You know who else thinks he's hunky? The guys on Rikers. They're looking forward to their new bunkmate. Yes, Thomas Dickey.
I would say their mouths are probably watering.
Yes. All right, let's get to the drone story. Yes, I think Mangione showed that he's going to be he's going to be a difficult guy to in court. He's already throwing tantrums when they took him into court, screaming indecipherably about his lived experience. So he might just not even try to beat the rap. He might just go in there and start screaming and making all kinds of crazy statements, and then they will put him away for life, which is, unfortunately, he won't face the death penalty in New York City. But he should, but maybe he'll get Whitey Bulgered in prison, which is what he absolutely deserves, because you can only push people so far. All right.
Excuse me.
All right, small business owners, listen up. If you're tired of losing money to credit card processing fees, we've got something you need to hear. With 24/7 payments, you can eliminate up to 99% of those fees thanks to their fee elimination program. Here's how it works. You pass the processing fees on to customers who pay with credit cards, and in return, you can offer them a discount for paying with cash or debit. It's a simple, effective, and fully compliant way to save thousands every month. Right now, 24/7 Payments is switching over 250 businesses every month to this program, and they can have you set up in less than 24 hours. Call 855-504-0799 today or visit them on the web at 247payments.com. That's the numbers 247payments.com. Are your loved ones aging? Has walking become difficult for your parents, your grandparents? It's tough. I've been there. I know lots of you have been there too. Stairs can often be a challenge for them. It's also a significant risk of falling. Well, Lifeway Mobility, one of the largest providers of accessibility solutions, offers stair lifts, wheelchair ramps, home elevators, transfer aids, and bath safety solutions to improve safety, independence, and quality of life at home. Most of their solutions are made in the USA, and they provide professional installation and service. Gain peace of mind and help loved ones stay safe at home. Schedule a free consultation when you call Lifeway Mobility at 888-780-7923. They have locations across the U.S. with showrooms for you to see and test their products. They're also rated the best stair lift company by the National Council on Aging and by U.S. News, and they have over 6,000 five-star reviews. Call 888-780-7923 or visit lifewaymobility.com for your free consultation. That's 888-780-7923. All right, it's the biggest story in the country right now. Initially, I didn't really get into it. I was like, oh, yeah, drones, whatever, drones. Someone's, some guy is out there, buzzing people with his drone, just trying to get attention. But it has evolved, and it is just, it's a mystery at this point. SUV-sized drones, that's what they said. Huge drones flying over large swaths of New Jersey, including Trump's Bedminster home and military bases, including Fort Dix. And nobody knows, or at least nobody's saying, who owns the drones, whose drones they are. And people down there are taking pictures every night saying what's going on here. And nobody's saying, nobody's admitting. I just happen to have the news on, and the spokesman for the Pentagon, this Sabrina Singh, is doing a press conference, and she's asked about it and what the Pentagon, what the military is going to do about it. She says, that's not our business. She said, quote unquote, that's the job of local law enforcement. That's when I started paying attention. The federal government, the Pentagon, says it's the job of local cops to figure out whose drones these are, what they're doing up there. Local cops? What? How could they possibly handle this? They're supposed to figure out who's flying these drones over their towns. How do they do that? With their binoculars? I mean, they're supposed to take out their sidearm and shoot it? The military is saying it's not their business. The U.S. military says it's not their call to figure out who's flying drones over military bases in New Jersey. That made me wonder. Someone's not telling the truth. Someone is not being honest about this. And then you have Rep. Jeff Van Drew of New Jersey. His district they're flying over his district. He goes on with Harris Faulkner on Fox News and just kind of casually says, yep, they're from Iran. They're Iranian. Watch this.
In focus now, Republican Congressman Jeff Van Drew of New Jersey, member of the House Judiciary Committee on the Hill right now. How do you address this at this point?
Well, here's the real deal, Harris. You know, I'm also on the Transportation Committee, on the Aviation Subcommittee, and I've gotten to know people. And from very high sources, very qualified sources, very responsible sources, I'm going to tell you the real deal. Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. That mothership is off, I'm going to tell you the deal. It's off the east coast of the United States of America. They've launched drones, is everything that we can see or hear. And again, these are from high sources. I don't say this lightly. Now, you know, we know there was a probability it could have been our own government. We know it's not our own government because they would have let us know. It could have been some really glorified hobbyists that were doing something unbelievable. They don't have the technology. But let's pretend that's possible. The third possibility was somebody, an adversarial country, doing this. You know that Iran made a deal with China to purchase drones, motherships, and technology in order to go forward. The sources I have are good. They can't reveal who they are because they are speaking to me in confidentiality. These drones should be shot down. Whether it was some crazy hobbyist that we can't imagine, or whether it is Iran, and I think it very possibly could be, they should be shot down. We are not getting the full deal, and the military is on alert with this.
Whoa. Whoa. Hold the phone. So a congressman has sources, good sources, he says, who claim they're Iranians, and there's an Iranian ship, a mothership off the East Coast. Now, the Pentagon spokesman, Sabrina Singh, immediately said, no, they're not Iranian and there's no ship. So someone's lying to us about these drones and nobody knows what they're doing. Are they surveillance? Are they surveilling the military base or Trump's home? Are they armed? Do they have weapons on them? We don't know. Shouldn't they be telling us something more about, when you think about it, they're literally flying over people's homes. And the government will not tell the people in the homes what they're doing up there. I always thought if some hobbyist, as he said, had a drone and it flew near a military, I thought it was immediately taken down. Or flew near Trump's home, I thought it was immediately taken down. I thought the FAA had regulations. These things are flying. They're not in like no-fly zones. They're strategically flying in places where there is no regulation against it, but they're these big, huge drones, and we don't know what's on them, and we don't know what they're doing, and nobody will tell us. Maybe we won't know until January 20th. Maybe that's another thing that the Trump administration will reveal that the Biden administration will not. We don't know, but that's a congressman saying it's Iran, and they have a ship off the East Coast, and we know, if we know anything about the Biden administration, is that they're very friendly with Iran, that they somehow, no one quite understands why, somehow they just keep giving concessions to the Iranians. Is this one of those deals like with the spy balloon, which they allowed to fly all the way over the country before shooting it down? Are they going to claim they don't want to risk anything by shooting it down? Drew said, they could shoot them down over the ocean because they leave our airspace and go out to the mothership every day, and we could shoot them down over the ocean. Well, why not? Why aren't we? Well, they claim there's no evidence. It's Iran, but they won't tell you who it is. Just bizarre story, I guess. We'll just have to wait and see whether they're Iranian. How long will they allow them to do this, to just hang out over New Jersey? And what if they start moving to New York or Washington, D.C.? Will they shoot them down then? Just
apparently they don't show up on radar either, which is very alarming. Like, it's all
well,
weird.
maybe they're UFOs or UAPs. Oh, God, maybe the unknown origin. See, when you see this Pentagon spokesman just flat out say, that's not our job, that's up to local law enforcement, or say it's not Iran, you just get the sense that they're hiding something from the American people, from the people who live there and have to look up at these things every night. Just bizarre story. Hopefully we will learn more shortly. And if there's an Iranian ship, I'd like to know where it is. Wouldn't you like to know? Is there an Iranian mothership off our coast? And is the Biden administration just allowing it to perform surveillance over our country? Wouldn't shock me. By the way, Joe Biden just issued, I think it's 1,500 pardons and commutations. He is going to go on a pardon spree for the next 39 days and free every Democrat. It doesn't matter what they did. Everyone who's ever donated to him or supported him is going to be freed, let out of prison in the next 39 days. And I still don't understand why he didn't just do that and include Hunter. Why have Hunter pardoned all by himself on a Sunday night and face the blowback for days? Why not just include Hunter with the other 1,500 criminals? Makes no sense, but much of what Joe Biden does makes no sense. All right. Speaking of making no sense, let's get to Bill Belichick. I want to say right off the bat, Bill Belichick accepted the job at the University of North Carolina. This I didn't see coming. This is a shocker. He writes in a statement, I'm excited for the opportunity at UNC Chapel Hill. I grew up around college football with my dad and treasured those times. I've always wanted to coach in college, and now I look forward to building the program in Chapel Hill. First, I want to give him credit. This takes balls. If you're Bill Belichick, this takes guts. Your legacy is unquestioned. It is solid. You're not ever going to, your coaching chops are never going to be questioned. You're the greatest football coach, the greatest professional football coach in history. I don't even think it's debatable. In modern times, with 32 teams, to win 6 Super Bowls, that's not even debatable. He's 15 wins shy of breaking Don Shula's record in the NFL. I'm sure he would like to break it, but he's not gonna. He's given up that dream to go back to college. While I give him credit, because it takes guts to put your legacy on the line to go back to college, he could be humiliated. It could happen. There's not a lot of guys who go back and forth and succeed. Nick Saban went to the NFL. He was a failure. He's the greatest college football coach ever, but he didn't do it in the NFL. Jimmy Johnson did, but it's rare, very rare, because they're two different jobs. He's 72 years old. By the way, he's replacing a 73-year-old Mac Brown. So he's the young guy. But he's taking over a program that is not one of your college football powerhouses. It's not like you just go in there and it's a well-oiled machine and you just kind of keep it all going like you would if you went to Georgia or Alabama or even Texas. You're going to UNC, which went 6-6 this year, 3-5 in the ACC. And if he doesn't go, win 8-9 games, a lot of people are going to be rooting for him to fail. A lot of people in the media across the country, they've been waiting for the day that they could dance on his grave, to just revel in his failure. And that could happen because it's a tough job. I mean, they're in the ACC. They finished, obviously, in the back of the pack this year. I was just looking at their season. Their most recent game, they lost to NC State. The week before that, they got crushed by Boston College. They got crushed by Georgia Tech, by Pitt. They lost to Duke. They lost to, if I'm looking at this correctly, they lost to James Madison 70-50 on September 21st. So he's got some work to do. Now, I understand UNC Chapel Hill's a beautiful place. When I visited there with my daughter, and I told her, in my next life, this is where I'm going. It was in March. They were getting ready for March Madness. Everyone was wearing the blue, the powder blue, whatever that is, Carolina blue. There was music playing and Frisbees, and the campus is spectacular. It is a great place to live. And, maybe it's better than, taking a job in Jacksonville. But I thought he'd coach again. I thought this season he'd be back. But I thought it would be in the NFL. There will be 8, 9, 10 open jobs in the NFL, and some of them will be pretty good. As I mentioned the other day, if they fire Zach Taylor in Cincinnati, you don't think they'd call Bill Belichick to coach Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and that team, which has underperformed, underachieved? I thought there'd be an opportunity like that. Now, he didn't get a lot of interviews last year. He interviewed with Atlanta, didn't get the job. I thought he would do one of two things: go back to the NFL or just enjoy the hell out of the life he has right now. He's got all these media gigs. He's probably making really good money, relaxed, enjoying it, having a good time. He's great with the Manning brothers. I thought he might go the Bill Cowher route or the John Madden route, become a TV star and just enjoy his golden years. This is going to be a tough, tough job to recruit, which he's never done. And as somebody pointed out, I think it might have been Albert Breer, that he will be able to sit back and let the recruits come to him, which is what Deion Sanders does at Colorado. But I'm going to guess Deion Sanders has a different appeal with 17, 18-year-old kids. Bill Belichick's the greatest coach ever. And he will tell these kids he can get them to the NFL, but he's still Bill Belichick. As Tom Brady said when asked about this, he imitated Belichick as a recruiter, saying, yeah, you can come here if you want. We really don't care, if that's what you want to do. But college coaching is not NFL coaching. You don't get to draft players. You have to recruit them, persuade them, convince them. And again, if he were convincing them to come to Alabama or Texas, that's one thing. He has to convince them to come to a basketball school and tell them that he can coach them up and get them to the NFL. And I guess he'll show them, maybe it's Drake May. Maybe Drake May will help them the way Brady helps Michigan. Or maybe Lawrence Taylor will convince them that UNC is their route, their next step to the NFL. But I always thought that about college coaching. I'd love to coach in college. It looks, the best job in sports would be like a coordinator at an SEC team in Georgia, be like one of these defensive or offensive coordinators who makes $3 million a year and doesn't have the pressure or the responsibilities of a head coach. That'd be a great job. But he's the head coach, and apparently they're willing to open up the checkbook for him. He's going to make $10 million a year. He will be the 7th highest coach in college football. That means, by the way, there are 6 guys out there who make more than $10 million a year. Kirby Smart is number 1 on the list at like 13. But Belichick's going to make $10 million a year. He's going to hire his son. He's going to have the money to he's going to have to figure out the NIL thing, the transfer portal. Now, he's a brilliant guy, and I'm sure he'll work his ass off. But even if everything falls into place, he's still coaching North Carolina and not a traditional powerhouse. It's still going to be tough. And maybe he'll go, 7-5, 8-4, and everyone will hail him as a success. But that's a lot of losing for a guy who's not used to losing. I mean, UNC's in a bowl game against Connecticut. I don't even know what bowl game it is. Not a big one. It's on December 28th, but it's not a big one. and they're not in the playoff, that's for sure. And there are people out there who saying, he's Bill Belichick. Of course he'll succeed. I don't think it's that easy. Emmanuel Acho, who he is? He's a Fox commentator, former Philadelphia Eagle. He was recruited to Texas by Mac Brown. And there are a few guys out there who are just flat out saying Bill Belichick is going to fail. So again, it takes guts to do this because there are people who think for the first time since, Cleveland Browns, which wasn't that bad, by the way. He got him to the playoffs. For the first time in his professional career, Belichick is going to fall flat on his face. Listen to Emmanuel Acho.
Bill Belichick coaching college. If everyone else is going to lie to you, let me be the only one to tell you the truth. This is not going to work. College is all about recruiting, and Bill Belichick cannot recruit. That's what differentiates college from the NFL.
College coaching is recruiting.
Right.
Professional coaching is coaching. Right. And so that's the difference in the two.
I found this very fascinating during the COVID year. When players had the ability to opt out without penalty, you want to know the team that had the most opt-outs, and it wasn't even close? The New England Patriots. When coaches had to convince their players, hey, come back, we're going to make this safe, we're going to make this worthwhile, the Patriots had 8 players opt out during the COVID year. I think the next closest team had 2 opt-out players. I always found that fascinating from a recruiting perspective. Number 2, Bill Belichick, 72 years old, is replacing Mac Brown, 73 years old. Mac Brown was my college coach. He was the person that recruited me to the University of Texas. Mac Brown is one of the most hands-off coaches I have ever been around. He trusts the people that he hires. Bill Belichick is one of the most hands-on coaches you will ever be around. Quite literally tries to have his hand in every single pot. You cannot do that in college. You're no longer dealing with grown men. You are dealing with kids maturing into men. You have to have a high EQ, emotional intelligence. Bill Belichick has an IQ that's incredibly high. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. The only reason you might want to potentially believe it'll work is because he does have a 24-year-old girlfriend who was 23 at the time he recruited her. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, his 24-year-old girlfriend is celebrating. She's all in on UNC football, and it will be a fascinating thing to watch. UConn, UNC play in the Wasabi Bowl. So the bar isn't high. He's going to win more than Mac Brown did in his final year. They're at Fenway Park in the Wasabi Fenway Bowl on December 28th. Is anyone going to show up for that? UConn.
Belichick, probably.
I guess. Yeah, Belichick will be there with his Carolina blue hoodie, and he'll get all kinds of media attention. Everybody's going to be watching, and unfortunately, a lot of people are going to be hoping for the worst for Bill Belichick, who
he does ask a good question. He was wondering if there's something in his contract that if the NFL came that he would leave and then his son could take over then.
Well, I mean, I understand that he may leave, but he can't leave yet. He hasn't coached a game. He's going to have to coach next season. He's going to have to coach a season. Yeah. You can't quit now.
That's unfortunate because the Cowboys are going to be like, hey, we're ready.
I'm telling you, there's always more jobs open than you think. And again, I think the average is 8 or 10 jobs a year open up. Hell, there's already 3 or 4 open ones now, including the Jets, where he'd never go, or the Chicago Bears. The Giants are going to be looking for a coach. Wouldn't that be fascinating to see him go back to the Giants? Jacksonville, maybe Cincinnati. There's going to be some good jobs out there, and Belichick is not going to be interviewing. He's not going to be available because he's laying it all on the line at UNC Chapel Hill. Good luck to him. You know what? I'm going to root for him because I like him. Right now he's going to go from that media darling who's funny on the Manning and insightful on the Manning cast and Pat McAfee show and all these. He's going to go back to being the curmudgeon who gives him nothing. He's going to do his first press conference probably this week.
Does that have to end, or can he still do those, you think?
That's a good question. I think he could still do them. It doesn't take him a lot of time, a couple hours here and there. So I guess I don't know. We'll see. I mean, he was clearly looking to coach again, and If there was like no chance he'd get a good NFL job, I could understand, but he was going to get interviewed for all of them. Well, not all of them, not the Jets, but he was going to have opportunities in the NFL. And obviously, he doesn't need the money. He doesn't care about the money. And he decides to do this instead. Well, he does. He marches to his own drummer. So I guess I will give him credit, and we will see how it goes. But that will do it for today on this day that Trump is just kicking ass. He is just rolling. Trump person of the year for Time Magazine. The second time he's won. Unfortunately, Kamala, you lose again. Imagine if they picked Kamala. It must have killed Time Magazine to do this because they had to put a flattering picture on the cover. They had to write a reasonable story about him. They couldn't do their usual hatchet job, which they've been doing for the last, 3-4 years. They had to salute the man for the greatest comeback in political history. But congratulations to Donald J. Trump. That'll do it for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hey, by the way, I'll be on with Bianca Della Garza in the 1 o'clock hour on Newsmax. You check me out then. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show, and we'll do it again tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, my God. Is she crazy?
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you so very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.